Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my videos. So our board have made a decision over Dayot Upamecano. We are going to make a move for the player next summer. Dayot Upamecano's release clause becomes active next year and he's going to be available for around £38 million. Dayot Upamecano has got a contract with RB Leipzig until 2023. I think his release clause has been around £45 million. Solskjaer was saying in his press conference earlier on today, ahead of the game against Leipzig, that he's looking forward to seeing Dayot Upamecano close up. We scouted the player as a teenager. He's 22 years of age today, by the way. He is a centre-half. He's been at Leipzig now for a good 3 years or so. Made around 87 appearances in the Bundesliga. Leipzig paid around €10 million for him from Red Bull Salzburg. And I think Manchester United do need a centre-half because we need someone to go alongside Harry Maguire in our back line. So that's the breaking news on him. Now, are you Paul Pogba in or are you Paul Pogba out? Now, Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville recently had a debate on Monday Night Football whether Paul Pogba can still be a success at Manchester United and, can he be a key player alongside Bruno Fernandes. Gary Neville actually said that Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes can be Silva and De Bruyne if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer changes his formation. I think actually Jamie Carragher disagreed with some of the stuff that Gary Neville had said. Now, do you think Paul Pogba has been good at Manchester United? Well, this season is his 5th season at the football club since he rejoined from Juventus back in 2016. We did pay £89 million for him, so as it stands at the moment, he is our most expensive signing. I think, analysing the vast majority of his Man United career, he has been inconsistent and the vast majority of his performances have been totally comparison to his ones at Juventus because Pogba did endure 4 good years with Juventus, didn't he? I think he's had a good couple of periods. I think he did well towards the end of last season. His combination with Bruno Fernandes was very, very good. And he also did well in that 3-month period when Solskjaer was the temporary boss. Paul Pogba has started on the bench in our last 3 games. Do you think he should be starting the game tomorrow against Leipzig? Don't forget, Paul Pogba recently denied that he'd quit the France national team. And apparently he's going to take legal action. Now, a few weeks ago, Paul Pogba made an admission, didn't he, saying that one day he wants to join Real Madrid. And last year, he was talking a lot about Real Madrid and Zinedine Zidane, and he said, he wanted to leave Manchester United because he was seeking for a new challenge, was Paul Pogba. A few weeks ago, Mundo Deportivo said that Barcelona were interested in him. PSG, I think, are still in for him. Obviously, there's been narratives of him possibly going back to Juventus. Now, there is no talks whatsoever over getting Paul Pogba a new long-term contract at the club. We recently warned Paul Pogba that we will not break our wage structure to keep him at Old Trafford, so we're not willing to pay him what we paid Alexis Sanchez. As it stands at the moment, Pogba's on around 290 grand a week on his current contract, so he's one of the highest paid players as it stands. Now, the other week, we triggered that 1 year extension on his contract, so that keeps him at the football club till June 2022. This was recently confirmed by Fabrizio Romano. At the turn of the year, we was very critical of Pogba's agent Mini Raiola. Main explanation is because he publicly criticised Solskjaer and Manchester United. Mini Raiola, though, his agent said at the start of this season that Paul Pogba wants to stay. That was obviously during the summer, and he said he will hold talks over a new long-term contract. I think it said, was it a few weeks before the end of last season, that Pogba was close to signing a 5-year deal with the football club. He has made over 100 appearances for us in all competitions. He's won 2 trophies at the club, and that was the Europa League and the League Cup. And he endured a very difficult time under the Jose Mourinho era. All our top players did. We had Pogba when he was a lot younger under the Sir Alex Ferguson era, but obviously had to let him go due to limited appearances. We can cash in for him next summer, obviously. If we do sell him, I think we can get from between 60 to 70 million pounds. I think we'll find it difficult to get more than the 89 million that we paid for him, So that's the breaking news on Paul Pogba. Now, we haven't enjoyed a great start to this season. We've played 5 games in the league so far this season. We have won 2, lost 2 and drawn 1. So reflects on that, we're sitting 15th in the Premier League. So we are near the relegation zone. And I said, didn't I, at the beginning of this season, what would represent a good season for Manchester United? And that would be to finish in the top 4 and win a trophy, because Man United is obviously all about winning trophies, isn't it? And we haven't won a trophy yet under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer area, and we haven't won a trophy for over 3 years. Now, before them wins against Newcastle and PSG, Solskjaer was under serious pressure at the club. And if we hadn't have beaten Newcastle, then I think he would have been sacked as Manchester United manager. Obviously, there has been talks of Mauricio Pochettino becoming Man United's next manager. Also mentioned that we was looking at Massimiliano Allegri as an alternative. And I probably think Solskjaer will still get sacked as Manchester United manager, even though we are unbeaten in our last 3 games. I don't want him to get sacked because I love him a lot. He's a club legend. But I just don't think he's good enough to succeed as a manager, because Solskjaer hasn't got that proven pedigree. Manchester United is the 3rd club in his managerial career. Before he was with us, he was at Mould. He won a few Norwegian titles with Mould. And before he was at Mould, he was at Cardiff. He enjoyed a very, very short tenure with Cardiff. The main explanation he got sacked from Cardiff is because he ended up getting Cardiff relegated. But to be fair, reflecting on how long he's been at Man United, Ole, he has gained managerial experience. He's been at the club now for almost 2 years. We appointed him in December 2018, and he's been permanent Man United manager since March 2019. But Ole's decision making has got to improve, because it is actually no poor. Because in a lot of his games at Manchester United, he's been very tactically naive. In quite a lot of the big games, though, he showed a lot of tactical flexibility. Our record against the top 6 sides has been pretty impressive since Ole got appointed in. But, we recently drew with Chelsea 0-0. at Old Trafford, and Solskjaer got it wrong. He started Daniel James, shouldn't have started him. Donny van de Beek didn't play any part in the Chelsea game. Axel Tuanzebe should have started against Chelsea. He didn't. Alex Telles, he didn't play any part against Chelsea. I'm surprised because I thought Telles would have made his debut against Chelsea. Greenwood, he didn't start against Chelsea either. I thought he would have done. So yeah, he's getting it wrong. He really, really is. And I've already said to you, I think Solskjaer should stick with three at the back because I think we look more effective with three at the back. I think the 4-2-3-1 formation doesn't really seem to suit our standards, does it? But Ollie's gone a lot with that formation, since he got appointed in as Man United manager. A few times we have gone with that 4-3-3 formation. And we've got games coming up thick and fast, and I presume that Ollie will be making rotation. He'll obviously, be resting players as well. Leipzig tomorrow in the Champions League. Then Arsenal at the weekend in the league. That's going to be a tough game. Then Istanbul Başakşehir. That's the other opponent we've got in the group stage. And then it's Everton. Tough games. This is Ollie's second season as Manchester United manager. And I did say, didn't I, at the end of last season, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, needed another season at the football club because obviously, it has been a transition period. Last season, I gave Solskjaer a lot of credit because he did well, because last season he got us third place, second highest we finished into Ferguson era. He also got us qualification for the Champions League and also guided us to 3 semi-finals. Don't forget the first part of last season, we enjoyed our worst start ever to a Premier League season. At that point, Solskjaer was very close to getting sacked by the football club. Solskjaer's made some good signings at Man United. He's enjoyed 4 transfer windows at the football club and he's spent over £200 million, hasn't he? We've also seen a lot of players depart the club since he got recommended in. I also like the way Ollie's promoted the youth. We've also had some good periods under him. Went on a 19-game unbeaten run, was it at the second part of last season? We're 14 unbeaten in the Premier League until Palace had beaten us on the opening day and did well in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. I don't think Ollie will be Man United manager by January. I'll be very surprised if he's still Man United manager in January. I really, really will. I think in the summer transfer window, Ollie wasn't backed enough by the board. And Woodward said, he was determined to back Ollie. The Glazers said, they were determined to back Ollie. But I don't think any of the managers that we've had since Ferguson retired have been backed enough. Simple as that. We missed out on all of Ollie's priority targets in the summer transfer window. And we missed out on a lot of targets in general, didn't we? So that infuriated me. And Solskjaer revealed quite a few times during the summer transfer window that he was very, very infuriated with the board. There's been a hell of a lot of Man United fans that have been very critical of the board. Because obviously our recruitment policy's been gash for several years. We've obviously overpaid for players as well. Woodward's been at United since 2012. The Glazers have been at the football club since 2005, haven't they? Matt Judge has been at the club around 7 seasons or so. He's been a transfer negotiator with us since 2016. Next year, we'll obviously be looking to make a couple of more signings because we need to make more signings, obviously. We'll obviously offload more players next year as well. I think next year we'll look to offload Lingard, Rojo, Jones, Romero. James, I think we'll loan him out. Williams, he could be possibly loaned out. Could Juan Mata leave the club next year? Nemanja Matic, he could leave the club because he's now lost his place in the team. Like I said, Paul Pogba could be leaving next summer. Not guaranteed, but he could be. Would you sell Victor Lindelof? So yeah, more players will definitely be offloaded. And I also said it's very beneficial if Manchester United can get a director of football in, because I think that's one of the structural changes that we need at the club. We've been in the process of trying to get a director of football in since like the Jose Mourinho era, and Woodward said quite a few times we try to get one in. Before, there was quite a few former Man United players linked with that role. Louis Campos, who's the Lille director, he's recently been linked with a director's role at Manchester United. But if we are to get one in, we need someone who knows the club inside out and someone who's obviously got that experience, you know? But like I said, we've been inconsistent now for over 7 years. Look what's happened in the last 7 years or so. We've obviously spent close to the £1 billion range on players. We've recruited over 30 players in since Ferguson's, retirement. Under the David Moyes era, we brought 2 players in. That was Marion Fellaini and Juan Mata. Under the Moyes era, we obviously finished 7th. I think the lowest we've finished in the Premier League era, isn't it? And Moyes only lasted like 9 months. So under Louis van Gaal era, we must have brought around 13 players into the club, something like that. He brought the likes of Schneiderlin in, Sebastian Schweinsteiger, Di Maria, Falcao, Memphis Depay, Herrera, Romero, Valdez, Rojo, Darmian, Blind. They're the players we brought in under Louis van Gaal. A lot of the players that Van Gaal brought in have now left the club, though. Still a few players here, though, from the Van Gaal era. We won the FA Cup under Van Gaal, didn't we? Van Gaal lasted 2 years. Mourinho, he recommended 11 players into the football club. The vast majority of this team's Mourinho's, to be honest with you. A few players have left, obviously, under Solskjaer, who Mourinho brought in. Mourinho obviously brought Lindelof in, he brought Bay in. Bay was the first signing he made. He brought Pogba in. He brought Mkhitaryan in. He brought Sanchez in. He brought Ibrahimovic in. He brought Lee Grant in. He brought Delo in. He brought Matic in. So yeah, Mourinho brought a lot of players into the football club. Mourinho lasted 2.5 years, won the Europa League, the League Cup and the Community Shield in his first season, didn't he? And, we haven't won the Premier League since 2013. And the managers that we've had since Ferguson left have obviously had different philosophies. We've made a lot of mistakes in the last 7 years or so, and that's one of the main explanations why we have been so inconsistent. We haven't dominated English football since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. Ferguson endured 27 years, was it, in Man United? Won a total of 38 major honours, including 13 Premier League titles. And don't think any manager at Man United or any manager in general will replicate Sir Alex Ferguson's legacy. But Ferguson didn't settle in straight away because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club, did he? You know what I mean? And before Ferguson came into the equation, we was inconsistent because we weren't good under Ron Atkinson, we weren't good under Wolf McGuinness, and we weren't good under Franco Farrell. We got relegated under Franco Farrell back in 1974. Now anyway, big game for Manchester United tomorrow in the Champions League. It's RB Leipzig at home. I've already given you the preview for the game, and earlier on today I give you my reaction to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, don't forget, insist Donny van de Beek will play a big part this year and he will be an important player. He's hit back at his critics because obviously it's everyone, I think Neville, that have criticised it. And he says, Solskjaer, that it's nice for some people. It's nice for some players, and some commentators to have a little go. And Solskjaer mentioned that he didn't start many games as a player. But, Donny van de Beek has not yet made his full debut for the football club, has he? But he should, he should get his chances. Solskjaer mentioned when Donny van de Beek has played, he has done very, very well, but he's hardly played, obviously. He was also asked about Fred. How do you evaluate his season so far? Fred's been playing a lot recently. I think he started our last 3 games. Solskjaer was also talking about RB Leipzig. He says, they've been good for the last few years now. They've got a young coach in Julian Nagelsmann. They finished 3rd last season in the Bundesliga. They got to the Champions League semi-finals last season. They've had a good start to this season in the Bundesliga. They've won 4 of their opening 5 games in the top of the Bundesliga. And obviously, he mentioned Dayot Upamecano. So it's going to be a tough test for Man United. Leipzig won their first game in the group against Istanbul Başakşehir by 2-0. If we win this game tomorrow, it'll be back-to-back wins in the Champions League for Man United because we won our opening game against PSG by 2-1. Didn't we? Like I mentioned earlier on, McTominay was in the press conference and I got to give him a lot of credit because he spoke very, very well. I think McTominay will definitely start the game tomorrow against Leipzig. He will. But I want Solskjaer to go with 3 at the back. He'll make changes from the nil-nil draw with Chelsea. Obviously United fans want Donny van de Beek to start, but I don't think he'll start. United fans want Pogba to start. Rashford could start, but there again could be given a rest. I think some United fans will want to see Edinson Cavani start to make his full debut for the club. Martial's obviously available. Greenwood's available, I think. Alex Telles, he should be making his 2nd appearance for the club. I want Tuanzebe to start the game, like I've already said. But we'll see what lineup he does go with. We will see. But I think we've got a pretty good squad. Good players in that team. You can obviously say, there's players that are not good enough for Manchester United, obviously. I think, Rashford's very, very good. He's improved under the Ole Solskjaer era. Martial's good, but he hasn't enjoyed the best of starts this season. He's got 1 game to serve in the Premier League, then his suspension's up, which is good news. I think Greenwood's done well. Hasn't played much, though, recently, but Solskjaer recently defended Mason Greenwood and blasted our ex-players for criticising him, and he said that the English media are starting to go after him. We had a few issues with Mason Greenwood, was it at the start of the season, I think. I think Williams is very, very good, but he's lost his place now in the team following the arrival of Alex Telles. I like Bruno Fernandes a lot. He's definitely made a difference in the team. I like Juan Mata. But Juan Mata's now aging up and you can say he has lost that yard of pace. In the games he's played in this season, he's done quite well as Juan Mata, like Fred and McTominay, but obviously they're not world-class midfielders. Matic, I think he had some good games towards the end of last season, but like I've already said, he's lost his place in the team. I like Luke Shaw, but he's too injury-prone. I like Eric Bailly, good centre-half, but again, too injury-prone. I think Alex Telles is going to be a very good signing for Man United. Wan-Bissaka, I like him a lot. First choice right back. Done well in his last 3 games for the club. De Gea, done well in his last 3 games. Like I said, he will remain our number 1 this season, David De Gea. Harry Maguire, didn't enjoy the best of starts to the season, but recently has rejuvenated himself. Harry Maguire did have early season troubles, didn't he? Odion Ighalo doesn't really get a lot of starts now, but I was impressed with him last season. Last season, Odion Ighalo was our top goal scorer in the FA Cup, don't forget. The main explanation we brought Ighalo in on deadline day was to get that cover up to Marcus Rashford. His loan with us expires in January, doesn't it? Edinson Cavani, I think he's going to do well for us. Did well when he came on against Chelsea on his debut. Nearly scored with his just touch, like I mentioned. Like I said to you, Cavani will be the next Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Do you think Amad Traore will be good when he joins the club in January? Facundo Pellistri, I think Solskjaer sees him as more of the future. He recently made his first appearance for Man United for the under-23s against Everton. We did beat Everton by 2-1. Rojo and Brandon Williams were also involved in that game, weren't there? So yeah, some good players in that team. But obviously, there's players that are not good enough to represent Man United, like I've already said. So yeah. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel if you do consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless you all again very, very soon.